Hello, fellow freelancers. Today I wanted to talk to you about resumes. That's a fun one. I wanted to talk to you about resumes because I get this question a lot, and so I wanted to clarify a little thing about resumes. Resumes, when you're a freelancer, resumes are very different as compared to when you are an employee, when you're looking for a full-time job. Unfortunately, when you're at work or when you're at school or when pretty much at any point prior to becoming a freelancer, the only resumes you've prepared for have been to be a full-time employee. In fact, usually that's the only one anyone knows about or hears about or prepares for. But when you're a freelancer, actually resumes are quite different. And the main thing, there are quite a few differences. The main thing is it actually, certain things don't matter. Like it doesn't matter if there's a gap in between certain years or something like that. Obviously, if you're looking for full-time employment, then you kind of want to show that you've been on a steady track. But if you're a freelancer, people are going to look at what you're able to do for them. So even if there's a gap, as long as everything you have ties into either translation or languages or your specialization or something like that, it's fine. And you don't need to worry so much about gaps. There are other issues. I don't want to get into all of them now because they can vary between person and language and specialization and whatnot. But suffice it to say that there are quite a few issues. And I get this question quite a bit. And, I offer a service where I help out with resumes and all that. So in a way, I might be shooting myself in the foot here because with what I'm about to say. But the fact is, when making your resume, you need to make sure your resume obviously looks good. But it's not the most important part. It's actually, it comes quite further down the line. And so there is a video earlier on of where I have my translation agency hat on, and I show that I'm trying to find a good translator for a job. And I show how I go through it and how I go through the process, how I find out who's available, to see how qualified they are, and if they are able to follow simple instructions, if they have any ratings or reviews, and what those ratings or reviews say, etc., etc., etc. And it's only once I've kind of whittled it down, I can't remember what the numbers were, but usually it'll be, 20-something people, and I whittle it down to 2 or 3, say, and only at that point do I actually look at resumes. So it's only like a final point. Once people look at your resume as a freelance translator, and very often as a freelancer in general, they're already down to the final few translators that they want to look at. Now you might think, okay, that's the way it works on Pros and Translators Cafe, but when I'm applying to agencies, it's very important to have a good resume. Yes and no. The fact is, I think all agencies, let's say 99% of agencies, have their own form to fill out. So while they'll ask you for a resume, they still want you to fill out the form. And why is that? Because they get hundreds and hundreds of translators contacting them, and they need to easily be able to search for whatever translator they need. So they need you to fill out that form with all that information, and that's what they look at. Then later, if they're deciding between 2 different translators or something like that, then they'll look at your resume. But because of this, you need to remember your resume serves a very different purpose. From being an employee to being a translator to being a freelancer in general, it serves a very different purpose. And so what you need to do with your resume, you don't need to worry so much about making it attract people's attention or stuff like that, but it definitely needs to look professional. It needs to look good. Your main strong points still need to stand out, obviously, but also you don't need to worry about it as much as your main profile page. Your main profile page is the main thing you need to be worrying about. And this can be your main page. I don't care if it's on pros.com, if you have your personal website, if it's on LinkedIn or Upwork or whatever it might be. But that page is where you first attract your clients. And you need to make sure this page is perfect, impeccable, all that good stuff. Now, a lot of the information is the same, by the way, from the resume and there. But on this page is where you have your list of services. This page probably will have a photo or some type of photo or something to go along with it. It'll have a tagline very often that you should have. It also has your ratings and reviews. Very important to have your ratings and reviews. And that's why I keep pretty much every other video I tell you, make sure you have these ratings and reviews. And you need to make sure that this page is awesome, because this page is what gets people interested in you. And then when it comes down to the last 2 or 3 translators, it can happen. But look, as long as you're down to the last 2 or 3, then you're going to get 2 to 3 of, I mean, out of every 2 or 3 jobs you apply for, you're going to get one of the jobs. And so your percentage already goes way up. And it really depends a lot more on the initial profile page and how that looks. If you have the most perfect resume in the world and you have a crappy profile page, no one will even get to your resume and it'll be wasted effort. So that's why I think you should be thinking about your profile page first. And most people tend to worry about their resume first. And I get it. That's what you always learn. You need to have a great resume. You need to work on your resume. And a lot of the information is similar or the same, but your profile page needs to look perfect. Even if it has more or less the same information, whatever you're using as a profile page that people can find you, for the first place people find you, it needs to look great. Usually when I talk to people, I recommend that they have a great profile page like pros.com. And then if they have LinkedIn or something like that, that should look good too, because if they decide to Google you separately, every now and then I'll do that. I'll Google someone separately and their LinkedIn page will pop up. And, so that will give another impression. By the way, pros.com, Upwork, LinkedIn, they have their built-in SEO. So chances are people will find you there. If you have a personal website, that's good. But frankly, I think you might as well, it costs money and it costs time and effort and everything to make your own personal website. You might as well just use pros.com or LinkedIn or something like that, because you can put all the information you need there. There are other reasons why you might want to get a website later on, but we don't need to get into that now. Anyway, the main point I'm trying to make here is make sure your profile page is awesome. I'm not saying to neglect your resume. I'm really trying to, I don't want you to get the impression that resumes don't matter or anything. Of course they matter, but they serve a very different purpose. They're for people to whittle down, for prospective clients to whittle down the last 2 or 3 people for a job. But when you first attract their attention and you first get them interested in you is with that profile page, wherever it might be. So just make sure that that one looks awesome. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to bring that up because I do get the question about the resume a lot. And while it is important, I don't get that question nearly as much about profile pages. And I think it is very important as a freelancer to have a good profile page. So yes, hopefully you found this useful. And don't forget to thumbs up if you did and subscribe if you haven't and all that good stuff that I don't repeat anymore usually. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I will see you in the next video. Okay, thanks. Bye. Savedum.